Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys have watched my last video, then I have some exciting news for you guys. I'm finally doing what I said I would do in the last video. And if you haven't watched the video, go watch it. Go subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate you guys supporting me. But anyways, for those of you who haven't watched the video yet, what I am going to be doing this video is finally stepping into the romantasy genre. I know I have surprisingly never read romantasy genre before. I'm excluding Percy Jackson because that's like Greek mythology. I'm going to finally start reading romantasy. And so I'm gonna start by reading The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've heard great things about this book, like at least I've heard people praise it. I don't know anything about the book. This book has been on my bookshelf for more than a year now, but I have no idea what the book is about, nothing. I just know the two main characters' names. It's Jude and Carden, and that's all I know about the book. I don't know anything else. I'm finally going to be starting, and I decided that I would do a reading vlog because this is the first time I'm reading a romantasy book, and it's more so for me than for YouTube because I kind of want to document myself reading romantasy for the first time. Just some memory to have. And I'm not gonna do the entire Cruel Prince trilogy because I just don't have the time right now. I have like university classes, and like the classes end at like 4 o'clock in the evening, so there's no way I would be able to film reading 3 books. So I'm just gonna do this one book, and you guys will get to see all the reactions. I still don't know whether it's going to be a spoiler video or not, so that mostly depends on how often I update and how much I'm actually talking about. I'll probably make this a spoiler video too because, like I said in all my previous videos, I feel like I'm the last person on earth to be reading these books. I feel like everybody else has read this and like raved about it except for me. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I really do want to fall in love with this genre because I have a lot of like books from this genre that I want to buy. So I hope this goes well. I will give you guys updates as and when I'm reading something. Like if something interesting happens, I'll show it to you guys. Stick around and let's see together how I react to this book. Oh my god, I just flipped to the second page and there's this beautiful map. I kind of want to color it at some point in time. I'll probably color it whenever I'm free. It looks so pretty. There's like so much detail. I wonder who drew this map. There's like all the different parts of Elfham. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. Okay. Map of the shifting isles of Elfham. So yeah, there's like all the different parts: Milkwood, Crooked Forest, Innsmore, Innsmire, Maddox Stronghold. Oh, and there's also a poem. That's pretty interesting. Hi everyone, I just returned from college. It's currently Wednesday right now. The last time that I started the video was like on Monday. Yesterday I read pretty much more than half of the book like so far. I forgot to update yesterday. I'll even like show you guys till where I am. And so far the book, I honestly don't know what to feel about this book yet. I'm like this far in. I'm using a chocolate wrapper as a bookmark. What is important is I'm done with this much. I've met like pretty much all the characters. I've met Jude, obviously she's the main character. I've met Carden, who is, I didn't expect him to be a bully. Like he bullies her a lot. Like some of the things he does to her are downright awful, and I've seen posts on Instagram shipping these two people, so I really hope his redemption arc is like, I don't know, something like he should be able to like redeem himself in the next 2 books. That's what I hope because I see people shipping these two together, and she surprisingly didn't, in this book at least, she doesn't get together with Carden. She instead gets together with this guy called Locke, who is one of Carden's friends. They're all fairies and she's just normal human being. Yeah, Locke seems like a nice guy, but I also think there's something fishy going on between him and her sister Taryn. So I don't know what's that about. And then she also becomes a spy for Carden's older brother Dane. And essentially she's just supposed to like go around spy and figure out if anybody is trying to harm Dane or not. And she does this because she like needs the protection to in order to become she needs the protection from fairies, and she kind of wants to be like them. She wants power like they have, and he offers to give that power to her once he becomes the king. And I'm at the part where the ceremony, the coronation ceremony just happened. So the current king of Elfham passes his crown to Dane. Dane is chosen as a king, as a lot of people expected. She's pretty happy about it because she knows that now she'll get all the protection that she needs. Because fairies, like, they have magical powers. They can like kind of control you and like command you to do things and stuff like that. And so that happens. And there's also like a lot of world building. You kind of get to see how they travel and all that. And then they kind of have like the sleep wake cycle of a vampire. Like they sleep throughout the day and then wake up during the night for their lessons. So she goes to lessons, like fighting lessons, and then there's stuff about like astronomy and things like that that she attends. And she's kind of a really smart kid. Carden doesn't like that. And then there's also like you get to see her spying on people, like on Dane's brothers. And what else, she kind of finds out like all these secrets and how a lot of stuff is going on behind the scenes that people or like the fairy society doesn't really know about. The part where I'm exactly at, yeah, it's right after the coronation. Like they crown him, they do like their rituals and stuff. Like they're supposed to paint over the next heir's body or something. I don't know, some ritual is there. That just got over. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This vlog is probably going to be really short because I didn't update yesterday. This is the only time I'm updating. I don't know what else to say. Now it's the fact is that my mom apparently didn't cook lunch for me, so now I have to make it myself. She's just kept all the ingredients. I feel so annoyed about that because I'm tired. I'm not in a mood to make lunch. I just want to eat. By the way, I just wanted to show you guys my outfit of the day. This is how I'm dressed like. I know there's like writing on the mirror and stuff, but ignore that and look at my dress. It's so pretty. It's an A-line frock or a dress, whatever you want to call it. My mom stitched it. I think I look really cute today. One of my friends said so as well. I'm ready for bed. I don't know if I'm gonna read more. Like I've this much left, like that small portion left. And I've already passed the coronation ceremony, whatever, like all the crazy shit that happened. And now I'm in book 2, or like part 2. This book is divided into 2 parts, and I'm in the second part. And here it's like Jude is kind of cornered Carden, and she's trying to get information about his older brother Dane from him, and like figure out what secrets or stuff like that was like going on, and like how to salvage the situation that's happened. And she notices that for the very first time Carden is pretty scared of her. She like wants nothing more than for him to be dead, but she also knows that he could be a valuable asset. I mean, she obviously doesn't want to believe it, but she knows that he knows about a lot of things. And he finds out that she had been a spy for Dane all this while, and he's like pretty shocked when he finds out. It's just that's like exactly what I'm reading. They are in the court of shadows. She has him tied to a chair. The other spies, Roach and ghost come in, and they're like kind of discussing about what to do next. They all each have their own opinions, and Carden is kind of trying to convince the three of them that he is better kept alive instead of just being killed like the rest of his siblings. So yeah, pretty horrific situation what has happened, and I still don't know how to feel about Carden. I mean, I do have an inkling that Jude and Carden are obviously going to get together at some point, just because I've seen a lot of the fan art on Instagram. So far, like this particular book, I'm not the biggest fan of Carden at all. He's so mean, he's such a bully. And yeah, and the book itself, like so far I don't really think much of it. I think this book is just like meant to kind of set up the story. Like a lot has happened, but it's not something monumental or something that like is really like shocking to me or anything like that. I feel like this is just kind of like the base. There's like an introduction to a lot of characters. I kind of need to tap into the mindset where I tend to like remember all the different parts of this fantasy world that's been created. So yeah, it's gonna take a little time for me to obviously like digest all of this in. So I'm not saying it's a bad book, but I'm not saying like it's like superb either. So yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I mean, who knows, like these last 100 pages could convince me otherwise. So we'll just see how it goes, and I'm thinking I'll read a few more pages before I go to sleep. So also, just so you know, I'm not going to be vlogging myself reading the next two books, just because I don't have that kind of time. I'd rather spend it working on my assignments, and also it's pretty tiring to hold up my phone like this all the time. I kind of sound really like pessimistic and not at all cheerful about this, but you know, it's difficult, and I already did that with my previous reading vlog, and that was really fun. So like, go check it out. It's for the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna cut the camera now and read a little more of the book, and then I guess I'll give you guys the next update tomorrow evening, which is Thursday. Okay, so I think I know why people ship Jude and Carden so much. I just got to the part where Jude and Carden are having a conversation privately. She kind of like, comes back to check on him after he's tied up or whatever, and they're having a conversation where he's promising to be truthful about everything she asks of him. And he just said, most of all, and she asks him why he hates her so much, because that's always been on her mind constantly. And at first he kind of doesn't want to tell her the truth, because fairies are always compelled to tell the truth. They don't have the ability to lie like humans. But then he finally tells her the truth, and like it goes something like this. He leans in and closes his eyes. Most of all, I hate you because I think of you often. It's disgusting and I can't stop. That is so... Okay, so obviously, I mean, she's pretty much a spitfire since the beginning of the book. She's always been kind of the daredevil. She has been the braver daughter out of all the three. Like, she has two sisters, Vivian and Taryn, right? Taryn is her twin sister. She's like very soft, and Vivian wants nothing to do with fairyland. She wants to like go into the human world, but Jude has always wanted to fit into fairyland and like be somebody with power, and she works really hard for it. She's also really good at fighting. At the beginning of the book, there's like a match between Carden and Jude where Jude ends up beating Carden in the match. So like he, you know what they say, that like boys tend to annoy girls because they're just trying to get their attention and they don't know how to do it. without revealing too much of what they're feeling. So I think Carden has some sort of admiration for Jude, I think, obviously. And he obviously doesn't want to feel this way because she is a mortal. She's not one of his species. So he kind of masks his whatever infatuation I think he has with her by being mean to her. So I'm still not a big fan of the whole bullying aspect because honestly I hated it. I wanted to kill Carden at the beginning of the book, but now I mean you also get to see a lot of like behind the scenes of like when Carden is at home, like how his life is around his brothers. So now that I'm seeing all that and like now I'm finally getting to see the big picture, I'm starting to understand why people are shipping them. I'm glad I got to this part in the book. So I didn't mention this, but I hate Taryn for what she did to Jude. I mean, I mostly hate Locke. He's awful. He is such a freaking... I'm not even gonna curse. I can't curse. I don't know if it's allowed to curse on YouTube. So, I mean, I'm just gonna not curse. But yeah. Just, whatever curse words you're probably imagining is what I'm saying in my head. I didn't mention that, so I thought I would. It's just, he's awful. I honestly thought he was the good guy at the beginning and that Carden wasn't. How the tables have turned. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm really sleepy. Good night, y'all. Peace out. I just couldn't wait any longer. I mean, I got out of the shower. It's almost 8 in the night, and I finished Cruel Prince earlier in the day. I finished it at university in between classes. Let me just grab the book. I don't remember where exactly I left off. I think I was talking about how I think like Jude kind of imprisoned Carden or like took him hostage, I think. I think that's where I was. And anyways, after that, a lot of stuff happened. She kind of made this big master plan to steal the crown because she knew that it shouldn't like fall in the hands of Balkin. That's his name, right? I forget these names. They're so different and strange. She knew that the crown shouldn't go to like Carden's older brother because then everything would just go to shit, I guess. So she goes there with the intention of stealing the crown. She tells Carden about this. He knows the plan. He agrees to like follow along. There's also the fact that Jude and Carden make a deal. I don't know if I explained about the deal, but yeah, they make a deal where he has to serve her for a year and a day. Basically he's under her control. He has to obey her every command, whatever. So they go to the ball, I guess, where they are doing the coronation ceremony for Balkin to become the next king. But surprise, surprise, obviously Jude ends up stealing the crown. The plan, everything goes according to plan. They decide that Oak, who is Jude's younger brother, is going to become the next king, and Carden will like crown him because they share the same blood. A blood relative is needed for someone to be crowned as the king. So that's what the initial plan is. But then at the last minute, a huge surprise, Jude asks Oak to crown Carden as the king. Obviously, Carden is like pissed about it. He does not want anything to do with the kingdom. Like, he does not want to be king. He does not want to like take care of the kingdom. All he wanted was to like just go off on his own, live on the outskirts of the kingdom and lead his life however he wanted to. He wanted nothing to do with being a prince or being a king. And obviously this angers him a lot, but he can't do anything about it because Jude literally commands him to become the next king. And after that, that's like pretty much the ending. He's mad about it, but he knows he's stuck like this for a year. He can't do anything about it. That's where the first book ends, and I thought a lot about this book. This book was pretty slow, to be honest. At sometimes, I don't know, like I was kind of losing a little interest here and there as I was reading the book. That's probably because I was, busy with classes, and like I have like an assignment that I need to submit tomorrow. Either way, I thought it was a little slow, and it's okay, to be honest, because it is the first book. It's kind of just setting up what's to come in the next two books. I already started Wicked King, by the way. I think I'm on chapter 9. I was like breezing through the chapters. So we're talking about this book and talking about me stepping into the romantasy genre specifically. And honestly, it's not bad. Like I previously mentioned, I don't know, like in my last video, I mentioned that I did grow up reading the Percy Jackson series. Like I've read, I think, like pretty much all the books in the Percy Jackson universe. And that's somewhat of a romantasy, right? Like there's Greek mythology. It's set in a contemporary world where there are these like people, there are these like demigods who fight Greek monsters, yada yada yada. And this book is kind of like that. So overall, I gave this book like a 4, pretty solid. Like I said, it was just like an introduction to the series, and like it kind of set up everything. Like the main event is obviously gonna happen in like the next two books. I thought this book was really good, and I don't know what exactly I was worried about when stepping into this genre, because it's pretty easy to read. It's young adult, the English is super easy. The only thing is that you obviously need to pay a little more attention to books like these as compared to like contemporary romances or like, any other genre, just because there's a lot of world building involved. There are like different terms and new words that you like sort of need to know. I will say one thing though, like as I was reading this book, I was kind of like trying to imagine the characters in my head. And so this morning I made a very, I don't know if it's a bad decision, but like I decided to look at fan art from the characters of this book on Pinterest, and I just fell down a rabbit hole. Like Jude and Carden look so good together. I'll probably post a reel showcasing the fan art that I came across on Instagram, so stay tuned for that. It was just so beautiful. These artists, whoever drew them, they have such good talent. And honestly, looking at the fan art kind of like put this book into a better perspective, because whenever I'm reading books, it's like a movie is like playing in my head. I can like literally see the characters behave or act as I'm reading the scenes of the book, like as I'm reading the chapters. Sometimes with books like these, it's pretty a little confusing if you don't exactly know how the character is supposed to look like because he's a fairy, right? So yeah, the fan art really put things into perspective. They look so freaking good together. The one thing I am hoping is that both of them Carden gets his redemption arc in the second book, because he was such a bully in this one. And I'm also a little like secretly a little sad that Jude is like controlling him, because I don't know, that just seems so wrong. Like doing things against your will, and knowing that like you can't do anything about it. Like she's literally like controlling him, so I feel really bad for Carden. But I can't wait to see how this plays out in Wicked King. That's kind of like how I feel about the book. Obviously, I am pretty intrigued by the series. I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I hope the next two books are gonna be really good. That's it. So that's, I guess, my review for my very first romantasy book. Also, I didn't mention this, but obviously romantasy books are totally gonna be in my future. I just don't know how frequently I'm gonna read, because I still feel like contemporary is my baseline. Like contemporary is always going to be like my comfort zone. I'm always going to fall back on it. But yeah, I am excited to jump into this genre. I guess thank you to all the book reviews and reels that I saw on the internet that convinced me to like buy this series. And also, I thank myself because I had made like really, I was like, I made strict plans on reading this year. So, like, obviously, some of the credit goes to me too, but like, also, most of the credit goes to all those reviewers out there and bookstagrammers who like made reels of this or posted about this and like made fan art about it, because fan art is like just awesome. I loved all of seeing everybody's fan art on Pinterest and on Instagram. So yeah. So thank you guys. If you are watching, if you are a fan of this series, thank you for like convincing me to read it. I'm gonna end the video. See you guys in my next one very soon. Bye.